What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex, and you're watching the TF Movie Show. This is just a web series. We're talking about the Transformers live-action movie franchise. This is episode number 61. And in this episode, I'm going to continue my web series where I revisit the Transformers live-action movie franchise. I did my journey to Transformers. I watched Transformers. I reviewed it. And then I did my journey to Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. I watched it recently. And now I'm going to review Transformers Revenge of the Fallen officially for you guys, and it's something that I've never actually done. I've never officially reviewed Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. I may have given you my feedback about the film here and there in tweets or some random comments, but I've never actually officially reviewed it because the film actually came out in 2009. That's 1 year before I actually started the Rage and Rona Review channel on YouTube in 2010. And the Rage and Rona Review is my movie news and review channel. And then I started up the Rage Nation back in 2012 in a separate channel where I just talked only about Transformers stuff and toys and collectibles. But in any case, that was 11 years ago when the film came out, and what I'm going to do in this video is that I'm going to share with you my thoughts and feelings about how I felt about it coming out of the theater, if I can remember all that correctly, and then I'm going to share with you my feelings about it upon watching it recently, which I did last week. And I'll tell you straight up that my feelings about this film now are very, very different about how I felt about it before coming out of the theater. And I just can't believe it's been 11 years. That's a really, really long time, and now we're up to 6 films in the Transformers live-action movie franchise. But let's revisit it. Let's talk about it, and let's go back in time and share with you how I felt. Okay, so 2009, before going into theater, super hyped about the film, waited in line for 2 hours, and I was super hyped along with a lot of other fans, obviously, because we had just watched Transformers 2007 2 years ago, and we were so excited about it because Transformers was a good movie. And we were, given a teaser of what are things to come later on in future installments of the franchise, because in the first film, we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know what a live-action film with transforming robots that look totally photorealistic in CG and live action. We didn't know what that would look like. Now we know what that looks like now. Then we have more expectations for the future films. And essentially, we want more robots. We wanted to give our feedback to Michael Bay, telling him what we wanted to see, and then we wanted him to translate that to a sequel. So here goes. Well, after coming out of the theater, oh man, I was super excited. I was like, wow, I can't believe I just watched that. We saw so many cool things. We saw Devastator, a huge battle in Egypt. We saw Ravage, and we got a teaser for Soundwave. We got a big forest fight with Optimus Prime and Megatron. That was basically the highlight of the film. We got a brand new villain, the Fallen, and we just got an exploration into the mythos of Transformers through the lens of Michael Bay, at least his version of it. So that was pretty huge, and I was just super excited about it. After watching the movie, I had to talk about it, and I talked about it with friends, and we shared ideas back and forth, but then I realized that they didn't like it as much as I did, and I couldn't figure out why. And they explained a whole bunch of things that they didn't like what's up with Devastator's balls, and you know, what's up with the all that over the top toilet humor. And I said, well, it's funny. I thought it was hilarious, right? And I was like, well, what about that forest fight? That was cool. And I just kept on defending it. And then later on, I watched it. So I watched it again. I watched it a second time. Once again, lining up for 2 hours. The first time I watched it with some Transformers fans. The second time I watched it with my cousins. And we like I said, we lined up for 2 hours, came out of theater, and we were talking about it. But nobody actually ever mentioned that, any of my cousins actually mentioned if they actually liked it. They just talked about certain scenes, but they never actually said definitively if they liked it, okay? And then I watched it a third time in IMAX with friends that had already seen it. But I was trying to convince them that we gotta watch it again, okay? It's gonna be better than the second time we watch it, and we're gonna watch it in IMAX because they re-released, or actually they put out an IMAX presentation. We're gonna get an additional 1 minute of footage, more Devastator, and more forest fight, and I saw the difference instantly. Okay, I noticed that, oh man, we got like extra scenes because I had watched it 2 times before watching it in the IMAX, and then I noticed that the extra scenes, as well as I noticed that like it's just huge. The IMAX form is so huge, it just opens up, and then you get to see a wider scope of things. And the resolution for those IMAX scenes were amazing. They were crystal clear. And then after that, I was still super hyped about the film. Like it kind of it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me why people didn't like this film. And then I was just defending it. And what else was there? I talked about it on social media, on Facebook, and then people were coming back at me saying, "What are you talking about? That movie sucked. It was one of the worst movies I ever seen," and I didn't understand it. I just couldn't understand it. I had so much fun watching this movie. I watched it 3 times in the theater versus the 8 times that I saw the very first one. But I was also I was struggling with which movie was the better movie, because I typically feel that sequels, if they give us more of what we want, that the original was missing, that automatically defaults to the sequel being better. But then again, I thought about it a little bit more, and then it doesn't give me the same charm as the first one. And I realized that after I had watched it on home video release, I picked up the DVD, and then later on I picked up the Blu-ray when I ended up picking up a Blu-ray player. Now you will notice that this Blu-ray is actually a little bit different than the Blu-ray you have at home, and that is, some of you might have picked up the Walmart exclusive version, which is basically the IMAX release of the film. This version is the one with the additional 1 minute of Devastator combined with the forest fight, along with the IMAX footage, which opens up. It's no longer in widescreen. So this is called the big screen edition, and I guess it's it's not available anymore. It's got a limited release. But anyways, I picked that up. Well, actually, a friend who picked that up sent it to me, because that was actually a U.S. Walmart exclusive. It wasn't available in Canadian Walmarts. In any case, so I started realizing that the first one was a much better film. After watching it on home video release. I guess when I was watching it 3 times in the theaters, I was just so overwhelmed by the theatrical presentation of the film. It's, big screen, big sound, and just a larger than life experience. So that's why I loved it so much. It was just so exciting as a whole, as a package, as a delivered presentation to me, right? And I'm just gonna highlight some of the things that really, really excited me. First of all, from the very, very beginning, I thought that Ravage scene was great. When I saw Soundwave as a satellite, I felt that it made sense, because he's a communications a specialist, just like he is in G1, and they made him into a satellite, and I had no problem with it, okay? And then hearing Frank Welker's voice, and I was like, oh, okay, this is fantastic. They brought him back, okay? And then suddenly, Ravage goes into the ocean as a pod, and then he jumps out of the water. I jumped out of my seat. I was like, oh, shoot, that was cool. That was really cool. We got to see Ravage. He's a Cyclops, but still very, very cool. And then we got to see, Michael Bay actually said that he wanted to see more of the smaller Transformers. He wanted to focus more on the smaller Transformers, right? So we got a bunch of small mini Transformers, the Kitchen Bots, or the Kitchen Cons, and then we got this thing called Reedman, which is a paper-thin Transformer, which is like a little bit weird to me, but okay, that's his version and interpretation of Transformers, so I guess that's kind of cool. Let's talk about the Shanghai Battle. We definitely got to talk about that. The opening sequence, and that was really, really cool. It was just so full of destruction, and I love the idea of the nest, you know, the humans, special forces working together with the Autobots. That was really cool. Like, that was such an interesting concept to me, and I really loved the presentation of that, of the way they handled that. It was, you know, Michael Bay, he does it very cool. You know, has the pumped up music going on by Steve Jablonsky, and then you got like nest vehicles rolling out, all these soldiers. You know, he knows how to shoot U.S. military really cool, right? And I was really into that. I was just really into that. We got introduced to Ironhide. I wasn't that into his transformation, how it was all close up, where you just see parts moving around, right? But we got a transformation nonetheless. Then the RC triplets were there. The twins were okay. It didn't bother me that much, but they were just a little bit more over the top than Jar Jar Binks, okay? I guess I didn't really care about Jar Jar Binks in episode 1, but I felt that the twins were a little bit over the top for my taste. But it's still cool that we got more Transformers. At the end of the day, you know, we got more bots, okay? They introduced Sideways and Sideswipe, but just like Bone Crusher, I felt that his life was too short-lived. Like, they introduced a Decepticon, and then he gets sliced in half. Very, very cool scene, by the way. It showed how badass Sideswipe is, but then Sideways didn't even stand a chance. Like, he literally didn't stand a chance. All he did was drive. That's all he did. So I was a little bit dissatisfied with that. Although a very cool sequence, it was still one of those moments where you feel like, okay, I was hoping for a bit of a, like he stood a chance. But in typical Michael Bay fashion, they just gave us like a money shot. Slow motion, car splitting in half. You know, it's a money shot, right? What else did we see? Okay, Demolisher. That was crazy. That was something different. The full reveal of what Demolisher actually looks like. I know we saw it in the teaser trailer and the trailer, but I couldn't really make out what he actually is. Like, what a weird looking Transformers. What a weird looking Decepticon. And then we finally got him. And then, wow, he's actually a weird looking unicycle, bicycle kind of weird thing, which was a little bit weird to me, but I still like the idea that these were big Transformers. Like, these were big Decepticons, and it took more than one Autobot to take them down, along with, like, it took Ironhide and Optimus to take him down. Most of the work was done by Optimus, but in any case, there was also Nest that tried to help out, but really didn't do anything. So that was a cool sequence, okay? I really like that sequence. Very, very exciting. Lots of destruction. Typical Michael Bay fashion. Things blowing up and everything. Okay, moving on. What was there? So there was the kitchen bot scene, and then that was okay. Then we moved on to Ravage. Like, I love that. I was actually I felt pretty cool with the pacing. Like, I was fine with it. They jump back and forth between the military, like Nest, and then Sam Witwicky's life, and you know, yeah. And so they go back and forth with, and they kind of created the pacing for the film like that. Eventually, they all come together in the end of the movie. But in any case, the parents are a little bit over the top. I still feel like they're more over the top than anything. Like, I mean, than the first film. So that was a little bit annoying with the you know, the mom going crazy, getting high. That was a little bit too much, okay? So, it was still funny. I still laughed at the scenes, but it's still, I feel like I was hoping that they would stray away from that type of humor, but it's still there. Let's jump into the forest fight. Wow, that whole sequence was just like, holy cow. That was one of the greatest, like, you know, to date. You know, because there was only 2 films at the time, the forest fight was incredible. That was what we've been waiting for as fans, for Optimus Prime and Megatron to fight like that. And we've never, after that, after the forest fight, we never got to see Megatron and Optimus Prime fight like that ever again. And that was awesome, because he was triple teamed by the other Decepticons. I mean, there was like Grinder and Starscream also part of that fight, but Optimus just kicked so much ass. And let me tell you how I felt at the end of that fight, okay? You know, Optimus Prime kicking lots of ass. He's ripping faces apart. He's ripped off Starscream's arm and beat him with it, okay? But then later on, he gets stabbed in the back. And I was like, oh! And then he blows up, and then he lands on the ground. I was like, oh my god! Like, I literally, oh my god, because, like, I I thought he was owning. I thought he was winning. And then Megatron gets him in the back, and then I was like, oh, like that was crazy. This is obviously a tribute to Optimus Prime dying in the 1986 movie, but I really didn't think they were going to do that again. That's crazy. Like, they actually did it. And then it just, after that point on, it actually changed the mood of the film. It was more focused on Sam Witwicky, and I think that's where a lot of the audience, the fans, were saying that after the forest fight, the movie just goes downhill. And I get what they're saying, but like I enjoyed it for what it is, because it started turning into this kind of globe-trotting Indiana Jones-esque type of a feel to it. Not nearly as exciting as Indiana Jones, but the fact that they were doing some kind of puzzles and exploration in the Middle East, like that was really, really cool. But it really changed the pacing, because we were just thinking to ourselves, like, okay, where are the Transformers? Besides Jetfire, where are the Transformers? Like, where is like the Transformers interactions, right? And then we get into the Egypt battle, which I love to revisit. I love to go back to the Egypt battle on back in home video release and watch it again and again and again. I love seeing those Constructicons, the Devastator there. Twins didn't really do much for me, but it was just cool to see another big battle. Okay, and at the time, I didn't even think about, like, okay, it's an Egypt battle, but most of what's going on in here is just military fighting Decepticons. And I think the fact is that I just wanted to see a big battle that takes place in a Transformers film, and it was a really, really big battle. But then after watching it again and again on home video release, I realized that I liked the downtown battle a lot more, because it was actually Autobots versus Decepticons. So anyways, basically, this is how I felt about it coming out of the theaters, and how I feel about it watching it on home video release. And my feelings did gradually change. It was the most exciting for me in the theaters, okay? After watching it again and again on home video release, I was able to do that comparison between the first film and the second film, and I can definitely say to myself that the first film is definitely the best one between the two, okay? Because when I came out of theaters, I was telling myself that this one is just so much better because there's so much action in it. It's just action, 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 and that's more of what we want, right? Wrong. So my feelings for the theatrical release of it was great. I was very, very positive about it. But then upon watching more, I realized how much the film is flawed. Okay, now let's fast forward to now, 2020, 11 years after the release of Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen in the theaters, and then this is at least a year of not watching it. I haven't seen this film in over a year, because I've been focused on I think I was focused on Bumblebee, and I just really wasn't into wanting to revisit that film again. So I watched it, and boy, this film is terrible. I mean, this film is really, really terrible. Okay, I posted made a post about me revisiting Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen on Instagram, and then there was a comment that said that the Shanghai Battle was like amazing, like it's so great, right? I'm gonna disagree with that. It is a mess. It is such a chaotic mess. Like I said before, like the Sideways has little screen time. Sideswipe only consists of a short money shot of him slicing him in half. Demolisher was just explosions everywhere, and is a weird looking transformer. The RC triplets, what did they really do? Not a whole lot except exist. Okay, the twins did nothing. Okay, and Optimus Prime, I mean, Ironhide is there, but you kind of like, if you blink, you'll miss him. Okay, that's all. He just transforms and then he's gone, and then he just shows up in a very quick few seconds. In the Demolisher fight, Optimus Prime does most of the work. And then that's that. That is that. That Demolisher battle, that Shanghai battle was a mess, okay? Let's fast forward to the human scenes. Oh man, the human scenes are just too much, really. I cannot stand the over-the-top humor anymore. And Steven Spielberg, or rather Michael Bay, with his films, with the film, the three films, there was always a hook. The first one was a car and his boy. I mean, the boy and his car. Okay. The second one was about Sam Witwicky leaving his home to go to college, and then the Autobots staying in a foreign planet away from Cybertron. They have no home, so they have to deal with that. I didn't feel any of that at all. It's just complete nonsense, okay? And then third one was Sam trying to fit in, okay? But we'll talk about that later. But in any case, this one just, I could not deal, after watching it again this year, I could not deal with Leo. He's just too much, okay? The twins are complete nonsense. Wipe them out. Just like get rid of them, okay? RC triplets do nothing. They just only are there to exist. And Michael Bay even admitted that he only put them in just because he was supposed to be in the first one, but then there was no room for him. He didn't know how to fit that in. So he decided, okay, well, let's just put him, we already have the design, let's just put him in for this one, but we won't bother explaining why she exists and what she actually does. And she does essentially nothing in this movie except get killed, okay? Twins are, like I said, are just there for comedy, and they're just so dumb and stupid, okay? I really do not like those characters at all. And the characters he write are just too much, okay? The human characters, okay? John Turturro is just still silly. I was hoping for a little bit more seriousness. Maybe his character would have evolved. Sam Witwicky is also, you know, I don't like that whole concept of him getting obsessed with the spark shard, the cube shard, okay? Like I really didn't like that. He goes crazy and it's funny at the time, but it just didn't make a lot of sense. And then why do all the girls at the college have to be, they all look like they're going clubbing. They all look like they're, you know, they're fully done up in makeup, and they all wearing heels and mini skirts. Like, why do you all have to look like that? Okay. You know, and Alicia's a pretender. Is it Alice or Alicia? In any case, yeah, she looks like she just came out of a club. And you know, she's nice to look at. Megan Fox is like hot as hell. Not complaining, but like, you know, it's just crazy. The Leo with his pants down. The scene with Turturro with his, you know, that thing he wears. It's just out of control, man. I was struggling with this movie. I really was. And then the force fight was great, by the way. I still love the force fight. It's fantastic. Very, very well done. The Ravage scene was cut short, okay? I thought the Ravage scene was fantastic. But then, just like Transformers The Last Night, which was something I was complaining about Transformers Last Night, is none of the fights have beginning, middle, and end. I mean, they never have all three of them. They only have a beginning, middle, or just a middle and end, or just an ending. In this case, it has a beginning, middle, no end. It just ends abruptly, and suddenly we're at that scene where, you know, they're in college, okay? I hated that. The Ravage scene had to be cut short. It should have had a proper ending, okay? But it didn't, and that's something that plagues a lot of Michael Bay's Transformers films. Anyways, let's move on. So after the force fight was done, you know, I'm really hyped about that, you know, hoping to see more. But we are just treated to nothing but human scenes. Sam Witwicky trying to figure out the whole Egypt Jordan thing, and it just, like I said previously, with regards to the theatrical release, or my impressions of the theatrical release, the mood is just, the pacing is just kind of flipped upside down. Like, the pacing just takes a complete, you know, turn, and I really have a problem with that, because I already don't like a lot of the human characters. I like Sam Witwicky in the first film. I don't like Sam Witwicky in Revenge of the Fallen, okay? He's just a character I cannot connect with. And, like, I'm saying so many negative things about it, but that's just my personal opinion, and I am really feeling what a lot of the hate is now. I mean, I don't hate this film, but it just really annoys me, like, the direction they take. And then a lot of people say, well, there is the writer's strike. True. Absolutely true. But when I watched the film, I forgot a writer's strike even existed, so I'm not going to, like, use that as an excuse. And although it may be a valid excuse, all right? But still, I'm here to review a movie, and I'm still going to be completely honest about it, and that is this movie is so flawed. Okay, like it's crazy flawed. It's just so difficult to sit through. The force fight is great. Afterwards, we go into all those human scenes, and then he adds that little guy, the little Jordanian guy or Egyptian guy, the Munchkin, the guy from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, those Oompa Loompa. Like, why does he need to be there? All right, obviously it's a sight gag. Like Michael Bay exploited him as a sight gag for this film to add his style of comedy. Okay. Fast forward to the Egypt battle, like the actual Egypt battle. I didn't care about Devastator's balls. I thought that was hilarious. Okay, I don't mind that at all. But Devastator was very, very underused. He was just a tool, but he wasn't an adversary. You know what I'm saying? The twins did nothing to him. They did nothing. Okay, it was the USS Stennis, the battleship with the railgun that took out Devastator. Once again, humans killing Decepticons when it really should have been the Autobots as a team working together as a unit taking out Devastator. That's what it should have been, not not Michael Bay again trying to show us that he has a huge respect for the US military. We get that, okay? And we've gotten that again and again with every film that he's ever directed. But like, he always has to make the military look good. And then like, as I'm watching this, then I'm thinking to myself that like, this is a full-on US military recruitment ad. That's what it is. And it's just too much. Woo! Like, it's just comedy. Like, I'm watching this and I'm just like going, like, face palming and laughing to myself, like, what the hell am I watching? We have characters like Jolt who only show up for a few seconds. He probably doesn't even have a minute of screen time combined. And you have the Autobots like Sideswipe and Ironhide and Ratchet, and they're just there. And what are they shooting at? We don't even know what they're shooting at. Because one of the things that I realized when I watch Revenge of the Fallen is that you never actually see shots connect. They don't connect. It's just like brr, 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 and that makes me it goes back to Michael Bay's career as a music video director. He directs these action sequences like music videos. There's no cohesion. Even though you may feel like, okay, there's a beginning, middle, and end. Yes, there is. But there's no sense of geography of where's what and what is who, and there's no sense of geography at all. There's no cohesion in the action. It's not cohesive. When I'm watching this, like going back to talking about cohesion, your brain actually, when a action sequence is done really, really well, your brain actually puts it all together, and then you feel like, okay, I get the geography of the action. Okay, I know what's going on. I know where everything is in relation to each other, and I know what the characters are trying to achieve. Okay, they're trying to get from here to here, but they know that there's obstacles in the way. Okay, let's use Michael Mann's Heat, for example. That bank robber sequence, very clear, well laid out, cohesive action sequence. In Transformers, the Revenge of the Fallen, the Egypt battle, no cohesion whatsoever. Sideswipe is just there shooting things. Ratchet is just there shooting things. But where is he in relation to the pyramid? Where is he in relation to Optimus's body? Where is he in relation to Megatron? It's, it's just soldiers in various random places shooting things, okay? And I have a problem with it. So, yeah. And oh, by the way, Optimus Prime as like Jetfire Prime, the combined, like with the flight tech, not the Dark of the Moon flight tech, but the Jetfire combination stuff. Like, that is very cool, very, very, very cool, very underused. You can't give us something like that and then underuse it. It's a teaser. It just teases us and it pisses us off because we don't get to see more of it. Okay, he puts on all that gear, okay, which like just glues onto him like a magnet, and then he uses it for like 30 seconds and he doesn't utilize it to its like full capabilities. And then that fight with the Fallen and Megatron, a very, very short-lived fight. Very, very short-lived. Like, the Fallen didn't even stand a chance, even though he had like teleportation, space bridge capabilities. He didn't stand a chance against Optimus Prime. And why does it always got to be like that? And why is it always got to be Optimus Prime? He just owns like it's so easily because like he took out Demolisher no problem. He took out Bone Crusher with no problem. He takes out the Fallen with no problem. He takes out Megatron at the end of the Egypt battle by just blasting him with those cannons and shoulder cannons from Jetfire's parts, and that was really cool. I did go, ooh, you know, that was cool, right? But there was never really a fight, okay? Like I said, the Fallen and Megatron don't stand a chance. All Optimus Prime needed to do was combine with Jetfire, and suddenly he's invincible, right? Give us that fight. Okay, Michael Bay did say in the commentary is that they just ran out of money, okay? They just, this is the plague of the writer's strike. They just couldn't write a proper sequence for them. They just had to wrap it up. And you could tell they were just trying to wrap it up because they didn't do anything. They didn't even top their best sequence, the forest fight. They didn't top it. They should have topped it because that's what a climactic battle is supposed to do. It's supposed to give you that impression, that lasting impression that when you leave the theaters, you're going to be like, okay, that ending sequence was crazy. That was so awesome. That's going to stick with me forever. Instead, it's the forest fight. And then we end up with a half-assed version of Optimus and Megatron and the lead villain, who has so little screen time, by the way, just kind of having this kind of a half-assed brawl, which I couldn't even make much sense out of what was really going on. He uses the spear, and then he kind of wraps it around his head, and then he snaps it, and then it goes through his neck. I couldn't figure out what was really going on. I couldn't understand the physics about like how that spear was able to remove his face, and it almost felt like the spear went through his neck and came out the other side. I just didn't get it. To this date, I don't get how that works. I kind of need to slow-mo it to see how that actually works. And then they just wrap it up the movie just ends. Like, it's kind of like they killed the Decepticons, Megatron kills the Fallen, Megatron gets away, and the movie just ends. Suddenly they're on this aircraft carrier, and then like, what we've done, like Linkin Park. Okay, wrong song, okay? Oh, yeah, no, it is What I've Done. Yeah, What I've Done, isn't it? Well, anyway, so Linkin Park song, okay? Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. That one, okay? Yeah, so anyways, rewatching it, I gotta say that this is one of the worst movies I ever seen, really, hands down, okay? One of the worst movies I ever seen. I did enjoy parts of it, so it's not the worst movie I ever seen, but it's one of the worst movies I ever seen because I have expectations. I'm a Transformers fan. I'm also a Michael Bay fan. Maybe not as much as I was before because he made much better movies back then. Pre-Transformers, he made better movies. Ones that are very, very enjoyable, okay? After Transformers, man, like, I think he's really, like, into himself. He's really full into himself. He's just a kid with a bunch of toys that wants to just play with them, but he doesn't know, he doesn't put away those toys. He doesn't, like, after playing with them, he just kind of lays them all out, and then, like, crash, crash, boom, boom, alright? That's what it feels like, okay? And it's clearly shown with the final result, because I've heard people say it's one of the worst movies they ever seen, and yeah. Anyways, I'm not going to say much more. I'm kind of ranting. I'm not angry. I don't hate the film, but it's definitely a movie that you know it could have been so much better. But it had the writer's strike. It had Shia LaBeouf injuring his hand, and also had what else did it have? They had one more thing that affected it. I can't remember what. It was 3 things. Writer's strike, Shia LaBeouf injuring his hand, and one more thing. What was that? Yeah, I can't remember. Doesn't even matter at this point, but a lot of things affected the production negatively. And do you think we could have had a better movie? Do you think if there was no writer's strike, we could have had a better movie? Yes. But it still would have been a less bad movie. Like, we ended up with a bad movie, terrible in fact, but I think without the writer's strike, I think we would have ended up with only a slightly better film. Because at the end of the day, there's still a lot of Michael Bay's creative decisions, and that is, he likes writing in characters like the twins. He likes having action sequences shot like that, and that the fact that there's no cohesion, it's just a bunch of random scenes because they look cool. He likes that. He likes having a lot of U.S. military versus Autobots versus Decepticon action. He likes that. Okay, so it's not going to improve it that much, even if there was no writer's strike. I firmly believe that. Okay, but it is what it is. Let's just take it for what it is, and in a way, you know, it's happened, and I'm glad it happened because we know that it can't get much worse. It can't, right? It can't get much worse. So I'm laughing because I'm saying that with a serious face, okay? But in any case, that's that. You know, I'm providing you this review simply for entertainment purposes, okay? You know, this is just pure entertainment for you guys. And that's it, okay? Anyways, that's all I gotta say in this review. I want you guys to share with me your thoughts about Transformers Revenge of the Fallen after watching it now, in 2020. How do you feel about it now versus how you feel about it then? Or if you just don't even want to bother watching it, rewatching it again, can't be bothered with that, just share with me your thoughts about it. And how do you feel about what I have to say about it? All right, do you agree, disagree? Do you hate the fact that I said what I said? Whatever, share with me. I want to know about it. Maybe I'll feature your comment in the next video. But in any case, that's all I got to say in this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, if you enjoyed this review, you want to see more, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation, also follow me on Twitter, Ragin Nation. My name's Alex Yu. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace.